And I think I was excited about the container where men got to talk in a way with each other that was responsible and supportive and calling each other forth instead of calling each other out. It didn't require the presence of women. Oftentimes men are willing to do that when there are women around. When there are no women around, we tend to be a bit snarky and tend to be more competitive against each other. And this was a space where we got to, really it was clear we got to actually stand for each other, and that was the big draw. Some of the big things I see integrating into my life from this retreat is the continuation of this conversation and weaving it into my life. I think the big opportunity in something like this is the integration. You know, it's one thing to come here and be away from the struggles of day-to-day life. It's another thing to take that thing you learned here in this container and bring it out there into practice. So that integration practice of everything we talked about, you know, trust, creating brotherhood, being able to communicate, being able to stoke our fire and being able to use that on purpose instead of in a reactive way, that's actually the thing that I think is going to be most valuable. Yeah. Collaborating with Bob and Alex, collaborating with each of you as participants, that's something I can see practicing with other men in my world, in my life, and just being able to practice collaboration and partnership organically is something I look forward to walking back home and practicing. I want to always be growing. I think I want to be looking in the places where I can make more of a difference that's inclusive of me. You know, a lot of the things that I've wanted have been expanding to include other people, loved ones, family, but also my community and the community of men in the world, but also women. I don't think this conversation lives well in a vacuum. So what I want is the expansion of this conversation, inclusive of me, to happen out there in the world. And how I'll know I'll have it is that I'm experiencing it day to day. I figure if I go a day or two without it happening, my job is to instigate it at that point. Yeah, it is something I'd recommend to other men. The big reason why is that there's not a thing like this that we naturally come across where men are put in a container where it's safe and loving and not competitive against each other. I think there are a lot of opportunities like this for women that have been built in the world now, and there aren't many of them for men yet. And so we're not there's not a natural inclination to do this with each other. And so this is a place where even through the discomfort, we're called to do it with each other and for each other. And I think that's just unique. And so in terms of our relationships with ourselves, our relationships with the women in our life, and the relationship we have to the world, I think this is the thing that's going to make the biggest difference, one way or another. You know, something else that comes out of this that I don't know is part of what you might expect coming in is a level of gratitude for the men around us and for being a man amongst men. And that's not something we talk about, it's not something that's part of the curriculum, but I think it's something that's naturally and organically grown in the relationships and the bonds that get built in conversations like this. So, you know, that level of gratitude for being a man amongst men isn't something that shows up in our narrative on a regular basis either, but it got created here, and I think it gets created here organically.